Let's talk about proportions. A proportion is a statement with two equal ratios. And remember, we talked about ratios. Ratios are comparisons between quantities of the same unit. So in the case of, when we talk about, by the way, we talk about proportions when we talk about equations because there is an equal sign in between the two ratios, so that makes it an equation. So in number one here we have the ratio of 3/7. They want to know if that ratio is equal to the ratio of 9/21. So one way to do this is to reduce the fractions and to see if they reduce to the same ratios. So let's see, 3/7 cannot be reduced anymore. That's already in its lowest terms. But 9/21, put a question mark here because we're trying to determine if the two ratios are equal. Well, 9/21 can be reduced by factors of 3. When we do that, 9 divided by 3 is 3, 21 divided by 3 is 7. So in fact, 3/7 is equal to 9/21. So we say that this is a true proportion. The two ratios reduce to be the same. Let's look at the example of 8/3 equals 18/39. So in the example, 8/3, that doesn't reduce. That remains 8/3. 18/39 can be reduced. It can be reduced by factors of 3. So if we reduce 18 divided by 3 is 6. 39 divided by 3 is 13. That cannot be reduced anymore. So because these two ratios ended up not being the same, we say that this is not a proportion, not a true proportion. The two ratios are not equal. In the past examples, we were just verifying if the ratios were proportions, if the equations were proportions. In these examples, we're going to go ahead and actually solve the proportions out. So to solve proportions, we use what's called cross-multiplying. So when I have 15 over x equals 20/32, we're going to cross-multiply the 20 and the x. We're going to set that equal to the other cross product of 15 and 32, which comes out to be 480. Then we're going to do the inverse of this multiplication to solve this equation, which is a division by 20. And 480 divided by 20 comes out to be 24. Let's solve the next proportion. Again, we're going to do a cross product here. So this is going to be 33.5x equals to the cross product of 6.7 times 38, which comes out to be 254 6/10. Go ahead and erase a little bit here. Okay, we're going to go ahead and divide both sides by the 33 5/10. These cancel out, and we get that x equals 7 6/10. Let's solve the last proportion here on the right. Do the cross product, so we have 2 times 12 5/10. And that's going to be equal to 3m minus 1 times 5. Go ahead and multiply that out. 2 times 12.5 comes out to be 25. I'm also going to distribute that 5, so we get 15m minus 5. And we're going to solve this equation for m. So we get, adding 5 to both sides, we get that 30 equals 15m. Finally, divide both sides by 15. And 30 divided by 15 is 2. It's often helpful to set up proportions to solve problems, word problems that compare two ratios. So in this example, we have that if 9 tickets to a concert cost $112.50, how much will 15 tickets cost? So you can set up your proportion here of 9 tickets cost $112.50. So if I want to know how much 15 tickets cost, I need to compare it So if you look, I have 9 tickets is to $112.50 as 15 tickets is to X dollars. So if I solve this proportion out, I should be able to get the dollar amount. So if we do our cross product here, we get that 9x equals, do the cross product of 112.50 times 15. We get 1,687.5. Go ahead and do the inverse of this multiplication, which is division by 9. We get the x, which remember was the number of dollars that 15 tickets would cost, is $187.50. You should do a gut check to see if that makes sense. So 9 tickets cost $112. 15 tickets cost about $187, $188. That makes some sense. The next example, we need to know how many cups of sugar will be needed to make several cakes that will require a total of 25 cups of flour. We're not going to do that problem because there's a mistake. There's talking about cups of sugar and cups of flour. So we'll move on to the next problem. We have that an N-scale model railroad is 4 inches long. If N scale is 169 feet to 12 inches, how long is the real caboose? So we have that 169 feet is to 12 inches. And I know that the N-scale model railroad caboose is 4 inches long. I need to look for the number of feet for how long it is. So we're going to go ahead and do our cross product here. So we have 12x equals 169 times 4, which is 676. Then I'll go ahead and divide both of those by 12. We get that x equals 56.3 repeating, and that's in feet. We can also use proportions to solve problems that you probably have just solved with simple multiplication or division before. So let's look at this example. We can buy one can of pineapple chunks for $2. They want to know how many cans you can buy with $26. So here's $26 lined up with my dollar amount. We want to know how many cans that will buy us. So we can do a cross product here, and we get 1 times 26 is just 26. 2 times x is 2x. Go ahead and divide both sides by 2. We get that x equals 13. So that means you can buy 13 cans with $26. The last example, we are given the information that Mina is planning a trip to Jamaica for her honeymoon. Before going, she did some research and learned that the exchange rate is $1 for $89.38 Jamaican dollars, and I don't know the abbreviation for Jamaican dollars, but we'll use JD. We don't know how many Jamaican dollars would she get if she exchanged $15. So again, I'm going to line it up. We got $15 on top. We want to know exactly how many Jamaican dollars that turns out to be. I'm going to do a cross product here as well. So we get 1 times x is just x, and 89.38 times 15 is 1,340.70 cents. So that is the amount of Jamaican dollars she would get for $15.